It will be a red wave. I think Republicans will outperform, exceed expectations, and the Democrats don't even want to campaign with Joe Biden. So Joe Biden is more focused on basically energizing those blue districts because he's having very little impact in these swing states. In fact, his presence hurts the Democrats.
Now to the midterms and the new poll that shows a president weakened by all of his troubles. Even the gas prices are now heading back up 5 straight days in a row of increases after they had dropped precipitously. Wall Street took a dive last week, and higher interest rates are paralyzing a lot of consumers. Joining us now from Washington, CPAC Foundation Senior Fellow, Mercedes Schlapp. Mercedes, good to see you.
Good to see you, Doug.
Let's start with the headline of this new ABC News Washington Post poll. Taking it directly from the poll itself, quote, a clear majority of Democrats in the latest ABC News Washington Post poll say the party should replace Joe Biden as its nominee for president in 2024. And those numbers are really quite stunning. 35% of Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents favor Biden for the 2024 nomination. Again, only 35%. Take me inside what it's like to be in a White House when you're under that kind of fire. It can't be a happy place to work, not that you've been associated with this White House.
Well, I got to tell you, Doug, it's very problematic for the Democrats and for the Biden administration in terms of the fact that you have this party, the members of this party, they are not backing the incumbent. I mean, that's very telling when you see the Democrats really fractured and saying, we don't want Biden to be the nominee for 2024. And so what does that leave us with? Does it leave us with the Vice President Kamala Harris, which is also a very unpopular politician? Does it go into having new blood come in like Gavin Newsom or several others like Elizabeth Warren, who then will jump into the race? This is very troubling for the Democrat Party because what you've seen for the first 2 years of Biden's presidency is a weak president who has failed to lead this country and has led us down a path of economic volatility and chaos at the border and increasing crimes in our cities. All of these different factors are lining up in a way that really has negatively impacted the Biden administration. And Doug, I just don't think that President Biden and his team can recover.
Well, you know, the one piece of comfort or solace that the Democrats can take in this is that they're talking about 2024 in regards to that particular poll item. But so what are the coattail effects for the 2022 midterms now just 7 weeks away?
Well, we saw the former White House press secretary Jen Psaki say if they lose, it's a referendum on Joe Biden, which, in fact, most midterm elections, if not all, are referendums on the current president who's in charge. And so I think that you're going to see the fact that it will be a red wave. I think Republicans will outperform, exceed expectations, and the Democrats don't even want to campaign with Joe Biden. So Joe Biden is more focused on basically energizing those blue districts because he's having very little impact in these swing states. In fact, his presence hurts the Democrats. And so you see the Republican voter very energized. You see independents basically turning towards Republicans. And in essence, it's going to hurt the Democrats come November. And again, I think you're going to see a Republican majority in the House and a slim Republican majority in the Senate.
We shall see. It's not just Joe Biden who's causing trouble for the Democrats. Let's delve a little bit further deeper into the poll. On the question of which party do you trust to do a better job handling, quote, inflation, 54% for Republicans, 35% Democrats. The one issue that Democrats have in this particular realm is that when on the question, again, the same question, which party do you trust to do a better job handling the issue of abortion, 52% of Democrats versus 32% of Republicans. So the abortion issue
right.
is there maybe ace in the hole? The poll says on issues, the surveys find broad opposition to the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling eliminating a constitutional right to abortion and a big Democratic advantage in trust to handle that issue. Your take on that?
Look, I think the abortion issue is not going to be enough to help the Democrats. It does energize the liberal base for the most part. But you also have to remember there's a lot of these suburban women and families that are pro-life. So in essence, it's an interesting issue if that's what the Democrats are going to focus on. They seem to want to focus on January 6th, and they want to focus on the abortion issue. Well, here's the deal. It's the economy. It is inflation. It is crime. It is immigration. Those are going to be the issues that are going to resonate come November. The economy and the inflation alone, I think, is putting such an enormous amount of stress on American families. They want common sense solutions. They don't want reckless spending. And obviously what you see coming out of the Biden administration is that they're more focused on handling climate change and throwing money at the problem of climate change and forcing you to get an electric vehicle over really helping families that are hurting right now. Because of this inflation, families are hurting. Families need help. Families cannot keep up with increased food prices. These electric bills that are coming in, and now that we're going into the winter, it's only going to get worse. We went from a country that was energy independent to now being dependent on foreign sources, energy sources. That is not where we need to be. We are not in a position of power here in the United States. We are weakened because of Joe Biden's policies. And, you know, I also think you got to be on the lookout for these cultural issues. I think you've seen the rise of parents that want to make sure that our schools are not pushing critical race theory, are not pushing gender confusion or child mutilation. And I think that's also going to be an issue that's going to basically push many of these parents who weren't political before to say, wait a second, I'm going to vote Republican because the Democrats don't share my values.
The other thing that we can expect between now and Election Day is some sort of an October surprise, and many people are speculating that that surprise might be regarding the man that you used to work for, President Donald Trump. We certainly know that there's some indication the January 6th committee, for example, might have some preliminary findings that they release maybe a couple of weeks before November 8th, perhaps an indictment. Any thoughts about that?
Well, I'll tell you, if there's an indictment, then you're going to see the Republican base being even more energized because they know that this is a political witch hunt from the DOJ as they try to basically take down President Trump's and their goal, obviously the goal of Joe Biden, the goal of the Department of Justice and the FBI and the Democrats is to make sure that President Trump does not seek re-election. And they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that that doesn't happen. So, again, if that's the October surprise, I do think that it will benefit the Republicans. I will say that the October surprise could be the stock market crashing. It could be something that really could be a huge economic downturn that will create an enormous amount of stress on our economy. And I think that that's the October surprise that the Democrats should be concerned about right now. You know,
it could be even sooner than that. You never know what natural disasters may befall us between now and Election Day. We've got these threats of a nuclear war from Putin. We've got this hurricane that's churning up in the Gulf of Mexico, soon to hit Florida. Those always become hot political button issues as well. So we'll see. And you know that all eyes are going to be on Governor Ron DeSantis to see how he handles that storm, should it cause devastation in Florida. Yeah, so we'll be watching for that. What are you going to be looking for on Election Day? What are the early signs of a red wave or a blue wave?
Well, you know, the states I'm watching closely will be Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Georgia. I mean, I do think in Ohio, J.D. Vance will easily win by 7 to 8 points in that race against Tim Ryan. I expect that Herschel Walker will win in Georgia. His poll numbers are trending in the right direction, and I think that Governor Kemp will help him in that race. I do think that Adam Laxalt out in Nevada has a very strong chance of winning, and that's a very telling sign because we know Nevada has trended Democrat for a very long time, and now you're seeing a change happening in that state. And then, I think that when you're looking at Pennsylvania, that's a tough state. I mean, it is a purple state, but I think that with John Fetterman, he is such an extremist. He is so in line with being along the lines of Bernie Sanders, basically almost a socialist, where his policies are so out of touch with where the Pennsylvania voters are. And I had time to spend with Dr. Oz last week, and I got to tell you, he is determined to win this race. He put $25 million of his own money in there, continuously is raising money, and is really outworking John Fetterman. And I do think that the Pennsylvania voters will, at the end of the day, vote in Dr. Oz. And then, obviously, I think Kari Lake will be the next governor of Arizona, and I think that will bring along Blake Masters as well. So, you know, those are going to be the states I'm going to be watching.
Well, Mercedes Schlapp, we have your prognostications on tape right here, right now. We'll hold you to it in another,
we'll see.
another few weeks, okay?
We'll compare notes.
All right. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Mercedes Schlapp, thank you very much. Hi, I'm Doug McKelway, and thank you for watching Centerpoint. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Leave a comment below and keep the conversation going by sharing this video with a friend who needs to see it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.